Hey guys, if y'all are thinking about buying new construction here in Dallas-Fort Worth, we got a video for you. We're gonna be discussing 10 things you may want to consider before putting that contract in. So be sure to stick in to the end, because there's some good ones in here.
So the first thing to consider, and we might be a little bit biased here, is you may want to use a realtor. Now, a lot of people have done contracts before, they know how the system goes, and you don't need them, and that's fine. But for some of you who maybe haven't done a deal before, there's a lot of things that go into a new build contract, and the biggest thing that we say is that builders are in it for the builders. So they're not in it for you, they want to get the best deal for themselves, and a lot of the times you're going to have some clauses in contracts or maybe some things hidden in there that might not be looking out for your best interest. Like we said, they're looking out for the builder's best interest. There are also negotiation tactics that we looked into when it comes to like upgrades, the pricing of the home, and just other materials that you may want to use. You might know things to ask for them, but we might know a few more things that you might not, and we will try and get the best deal for you guys as much as you can. And the best thing is we actually don't cost a penny. 99% of the time, the builders or the sellers are going to be paying us the commission, and nothing's going to come out of your pocket. So really, it's not going to cost you a thing, and having a bit more experience on your side is never a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely look it over it, just to kind of make sure everything's is on the up and up. So
now at number 2 is going to be those extra hidden fees that you may have to keep an eye out for. So there's the HOA, which you usually will see displayed and you'll know how much that is. But then there's also some extra costs like the PIDs and the MUDs. So a MUD is going to be a municipal utility district. So now that's going to usually be like the sewage, the drainage, the water, things like that. Kind of the utilities that go on around the neighborhood. And you've also got your PIDs, so it's going to be a public improvement district. Now these ones can vary a little bit. It depends what's going on in the neighborhood. It could be community stuff, pools, gyms, pickleball courts. It could be a pond feature. It could just other things that go on around the area, the way they make it look nice. So actually we just had a buyer who bought in Argyle, and they have a nice big pond outside the back of their house. It's got a little fountain and everything on, so it looks really nice. And depending on where you are in the neighborhood, could depend on how much the cost is. So I actually looked at, they usually give you a breakdown of each lot, where you are, and how much yours is going to be. Theirs is actually going to be a bit more expensive than people around them because they have that extra.
that's doing.
Yes. So it can vary from $1,000 up to $2,000-$3,000 in most normal areas. Some might charge you a bit more, but it's just an extra cost that the developer has put back onto the buyers, rather than just pay for it themselves. Because why would they do that?
All right, and number 3, getting down to the nitty-gritty now. This is going to be one, obviously, again, will be situation to situation. Depends on at what phase you're getting into the neighborhood at. But something to consider, there's going to be ongoing construction around you. So you're going to be waking up in the morning at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. to hammers, maybe if it's your next door neighbor. The other one, as my wallet and my bank account has personally getting to see, is going to be nails in the roads. So something to consider. If you are living in a new construction neighborhood and construction is ongoing, you're probably going to have construction supplies laying out, some nails in the road. There's going to be those items there that you're going to have to live with for a little while until the neighborhood is finished. So again, just kind of something to consider based on when you're getting into the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the kind of drawback. If you're someone that wants to get into a phase early, you want to get the biggest lot, you want to get the best locations, great, but you may be surrounded by, construction sites for next.
Just maybe replace a few tires.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay, so number 4, you might be able to customize the home, but not always. So when you are wanting to do some custom updates, it's not always the case, especially with spec homes, kind of the inventory homes, as Nash just mentioned.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, they order the parts and the materials and everything else way in advance. They obviously want to buy them in bulk, so it's cheaper for them. So a lot of the times, what you see is what you get. Now, if you're building a custom home, it's a lot different. You can usually, customize a lot more. Some builders will do packages where they just kind of say, hey, your home can look like this, or it can look like this. Other builders might give you the options, and sometimes you'll walk into the sort of model homes and they'll have the whole garage filled with brick colors and paint colors and flooring types, and they're obviously a lot better sometimes, but can obviously, as we've mentioned before, cost a lot more money. There are some spec homes that will give you some update options, but it's usually not too many.
Usually paint or maybe tile or floor if they haven't ordered them yet, because those are usually kind of the last things that get put in.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, they're...
So if you want to do the customizations, it's probably better to get in as early as you possibly can. Usually when you come in late, you're pretty much just going to be stuck with what you can see.
All right, number 5, halfway there. So this one, timelines can shift. And of course, this is going to be a little bit dependent on the situation. Obviously, if you're buying an inventory home, as we call it, basically one that's already complete, a spec home, you're probably not going to have as much shifting in the timeline. But if you are building from the ground up and you're doing more of a custom designed home, be careful. I mean, I've seen homes get put up as quick as 4, 5, 6 months. I would say 6 to 8 is pretty typical. And then I've seen homes take, COVID, what do we have, 18 months, 24 months sometimes for some of the homes. So you just have to understand that weather, shipping, supply chain, there's going to be a myriad of different factors there that could delay or even speed up sometimes. I was shocked at how fast some of these homes have been built, honestly.
Yeah, and this is what we came back to about the contract stuff, is we ran into some issues during COVID where buyers hadn't seen certain clauses in contracts or certain dates and agreements, and seller and builders were actually basically jacking the price up as time had gone on so much and forcing some people out of the contract and then selling the same home that they were selling for $500,000 now for $600,000. And it was terrible, and the buyers had no recourse because it was in a contract. So yeah, be careful. And at number 6 is going to be inspections. Now you think, oh, I'm getting a new build, I don't need to inspect my home. Yes, you do. Especially depending on which builder you use. A lot of the times you can run into small issues that they don't notice. Maybe something's been a bit rushed and issues can arise. So I tell a story about the first buyer, one of the first buyers I ever had. She actually bought a new build down in Granbury, of all places. And she only noticed the day they moved in, the daughter knocked over a small drink and the water ran all the way along the floor, through the wall, and then they noticed it was outside. So they hadn't sealed off the inside to outside at all. So then we had to get the builder back in to fix that problem, amongst other problems that we found. Thankfully, they had the 1-2-10 warranty.
So the 1-2-10 warranty is going to be your first year from the time of completion contract, executed contract, all the way out to your first year, as it states, is going to be pretty much like your bumper to bumper. That's going to be everything is going to be covered there outside of cosmetic issues. So if you ding the wall, moving a couch in on the way in, that does not get covered. But if something you find is faulty, microwave goes out, a door's unhinged or not closing properly, they can come make those adjustments for you. The 2-year is going to be all of your mechanical and kind of your engineering. So that's going to be your electrical, your plumbing, the wiring, all that sort of stuff. Then your 10-year is going to be your structural. Now that's going to be the roof and foundation. And unfortunately, as we talked about in previous videos here, the foundation piece of that, unfortunately, does not cover standard shifting. So that's not going to be foundation issues like you would see in a lot of homes. What that actually means is if the builder were to improperly install the foundation, meaning the concrete was too wet or too dry whenever it was poured, so it's too brittle or hasn't shifted enough. Those are going to be what's covered under that 10-year time frame. But again, that is something nice to have because especially your 1-2-10, that first year is great. And that's another one we recommend. Even if you get an inspection before you close, sometimes I recommend having an inspector go back out at month 10.
Yeah.
Just to get to review and give them that list at the end of the year and say, hey,
yeah,
like
sure
all this stuff.
When you move in, set your dates. So set your date maybe a couple of months before 1 year, 2 year, and 10 year, just so you know if there are any things that you've been keeping an eye on or things you've made a note of, that's the time to apply for them.
Absolutely. All right, guys, and number 7, and kind of piggybacking off what we talked about a little earlier, this is one of the benefits of having a realtor. The price isn't always negotiable. Some builders are pretty firm with their pricing as far as what you see is what you get, and they're not going to budge off of that. But other times, depending on where a builder is in the phase, if they're in closeout, if they're trying to get to the next project, if they're just trying to get rid of their model home, there may be situations that you're going to have a little bit more leeway. And sometimes that's being able to have that agent there who may have a relationship with the builder rep to know how much they have to give as far as, maybe it's upgrade costs or just directly off the price. So that's kind of, again, like that's one of the perks of having a seasoned agent.
He's very seasoned. As my mom always said, if you don't ask, you don't get. So there's no harm in asking. And at number 8, touching on what Nash has just been talking about, additions can add up fast. So whenever you're looking at doing upgrades to a house, be wary of the cost and make sure you know everything about them as well. So we're talking about things like the structural upgrades, so maybe like a back patio or maybe the layout of a home, the size of a home, and then also cosmetic updates, so maybe like the countertops or windows or paint color, flooring, things like that. You need to be selective of what you're doing. If you don't know that they're going to make those upgrades, make sure you do, because again, the price can go up and up and up. They're not going to hold back on the price and often can upcharge you for things like that. Toll Brothers looking at you.
I usually see 10 to 20% depending on the builder, sometimes a little bit more on that percentage after your initial cost of under contract. So
I think about it like when I go to a nice pizza place and I start adding toppings to it and all of a sudden my $15 pizza is $30 and I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
That is the same thing. So yeah. B-Way.
All right, guys, number 9. Not everything you see is going to be included, and this can be egregious with some builders, as we've talked about in some of our past videos. All of the model homes, when you walk into them, are gorgeous, but they usually are loaded with every upgrade a builder can possibly offer, which can cost you a pretty penny to replicate that in your home. So definitely one that you want to check to make sure to see what features are going to be included in your home. If it is a builder that kind of delivers certain packages, you want to know what is included in each one of those packages. Or if it's a builder like our favorite Toll Brothers that we talk about frequently, they may nickel and dime you for every little item along the way. So you just want to make sure that the home that you see and what you want as far as the finished product is going to be what you are actually putting the contract in for. All right, and last but not least, actually, this is one that you can save a decent amount of money on. Number 1, and this is going to be builder lenders. So a lot of times the builders, in almost all cases, the builder is going to want or require that you get pre-approved with their own in-house lender or their affiliate lender. Now, a lot of times, in fact, we have lenders that we work with. We'd be happy to recommend them to you. They're absolutely amazing. But some of the few times that I've actually seen him get beat is with new construction. So a lot of times the mortgage companies that are attached to these builders will buy large tranches of loans. So they actually get a slightly more advantageous rate than you could on the open market buying a singular loan. So there is some benefit there, but you are not required to use that lender. So you want to make sure to always shop around and talk with another lender to see, are there any hidden fees in that loan package that it may look great on paper, but you may be paying in areas that you don't need to pay for? Because that is when I've seen clients pay when they don't need to. And one of the other hidden ones, especially here in Texas, if a builder is offering a special incentive to use their lender, they actually have to apply that credit to any other lender. So as long as it is publicly advertised, it is applicable to any lender that you decide to bring. So they will try to trick you and tell you that, hey, if you use our lender, you're going to get so much in closing costs or whatever else. That has to be applied to all lending across the board.
Well, if you have any questions about those 10 things or have any interest in new homes, make sure to give us a call or text at the number below. Other than that, hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.